Those who are going to make any announcements, please come forward up here and talk as loudly as you can. That'd be awesome. This meeting is being recorded. I got it. Where is it? So welcoming guests and visiting Rotarians. Thank you for joining us. And Neil, is that you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we got one guest with us tonight. And it is Dawn. And Dawn, will you please stand up? And then tell us a little about where you work. And I got one interesting question for you. What's your favorite item of clothing?
Sorry, like in the middle of eating.
No, I'm sorry.
So I'm self-employed. I own like a photo editing business, like mainly with like wedding photographers I work with, and then also commercial photographers.
Okay.
And then my favorite item of clothing. Really like a good pair of mittens. Yeah.
Well, welcome, Dawn.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Neil. Welcome, Dawn. Thanks for being here. And anybody joining us virtually?
Yes. We have Bill Pritchard and Liz Evans.
Hey, Bill and Liz, thanks for joining us. After I'll be 56 now, I believe, right, Ashley? Or Neil, Alyssa's not here.
Yeah.
56 now,
56.
after our meeting this past week. And we have two new members. One of them, Macy Fitzgerald. Is she here? Hey, Macy.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Service. Alicia.
Oh,
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. So a couple of things. I'll run through our little list of service projects that we do have coming up here soon and currently. Currently we are doing mobile meals. So if anyone would like to, we have a spot on Saturday left. Mobile meals is the meals that goes to, community members who are in need of meals delivered to their homes. It's about someone said it was a little over an hour, it's about 2 hours. So if you are free this Saturday, we would love your help to be able to pick up meals at Mayo, and they give you a list, I believe, and you just.
Yep,
deliver
you're
them.
Route 5, and we have a lot of stops are actually added to our stops.
What time is it?
It'll be 10:30, 10:45-ish, pick up all your meals, and then it took me because I actually had to discover new places. It's about 12:30. So anybody who is driving this week, if it says the apartment's on 7th Street, you actually have to go to 8th Street. I actually wrote it on the paper for you, so you should be able to find it. And anybody wants to join me on Friday morning, please do.
The next thing is next weekend on Saturday, November 4th is iFeed. So we still have quite a few spots. Oh, yep, a whole slide. So quite a few spots to be able to help pack meals for everyone. It'll be at Logan High School. Just like it said, it's for Hunger Task Force, and it sounded like it goes pretty quick. Yeah, 8 a.m. to noon, but it's a really fast morning because you're packing.
7:30 to 10 o'clock is our shift. Yeah. So please join. Last year we had so much fun. I don't know if you did it the year before. It is a lot of fun. We get to do a loud chant and you get to mingle with everybody and a lot of laughter. And today Trinity is putting together a team.
Sweet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then the last thing that we have is something brand new, and that we would both love all of your inputs on, if you have any ideas or fun criteria. But we'd like to we're coming up with a service award. So this kind of, the thought behind this is, we have a lot of socials, we have a lot of different things to get involved with, but truly the service portion and who fulfilled either the most hours or the most events and whatnot dedicated specifically to service. Kind of an award that goes to that, just to showcase, we have the quarterly, it's the quarterly.
It'll be
or no,
each
once
quarter.
a year.
No, quarterly, you're right.
Yeah, but Phil got like
Rotarian.
like the star of the year. So we'd like to recognize more people more often.
So the whole thing is we have the Paul Harris Awards, people and all the people who give so much money, the service is why we're here. So we are creating this award with the committee. So if you would like input, please join the committee and think about different ways to recognize. And we know that there are so many people here that have done so much great service. So remember this, we are coming up with the appropriate criteria and discussing this with the board as well. So
But our first person that has ever won the service award for this quarter of July 1st through
September 30th.
September 30th
Or 30th.
is Sierra Lion.
Great job with alpaca cake and breakfast. And so much.
I'll stick your hand over here.
Oh my gosh, thanks you guys.
You're welcome.
You wanna get in there too, Phil?
Oh, sure. We'll keep shaking.
Here.
Thank you. And that's all.
And those will be going around. We did add another event, November 30th. I don't know, Alicia, the sign up sheet, is that November 30th?
Yeah.
For ring a ding bells, Salvation Army bells, yeah,
I might have missed this, but is there an update on the greenhouse?
thank you, we're gonna talk about that in the foundation.
Okay, cool.
Yep, cool. Social, Steph's not here, but World Polio Day social is today. Does anybody know where we're going or what we're doing? That's not, okay, all right, more to come. Today is World Polio Day for Rotary, and this Sierra's gonna talk much about this, so on, so we will move along. Rotary Youth Exchange Cultural Celebration, November 9th. You can sign up online on Club Runner. Please do, this is an awesome event. You can share and eat a special moment in her interesting food that sounds really good, but I'm not sure if I get it spicy. So, but I will smell it. Yeah, but I'll be there. Hilltopper Santa's breakfast at Rotary Lights. You can join on December 9th. Look at their club info. Star meeting November 9th, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. You get breakfast. You can go to the door D on 8th Street and learn so much more about Rotary, especially if you were a new person to the club and you like early morning breakfasts before work. You can go on in and have some fun with people from all different clubs. We have added a new person to the board, Sammy Rusky, thanks. Sergeant at Arms, we thank her for volunteering to take the spot, because Emma Booth took a new position, Eau Claire, and has moved. So thank you for doing this. Welcome. And she had this laptop up and going in 10 minutes. So glad you were here. Congratulations to Dustin, Midwestern Emmy Award. So, I believe it's also for his whole news network as well, so a great team effort. And congratulations to Laura Lee on the birth of Archer Martin Lee. That was 3 or 4 days ago, maybe, around there? 18th, okay. And Lisa, the floor is yours.
Okay, so as everybody knows, or maybe not everybody knows, but we host a student every year. So we participate in the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. Part of what we do with that is find 3 host families for our students. Edith is currently our student. She's on her way here, so she's going to be here shortly. But we currently do not have a second host family. And this is really starting to concern me because she should be moving to her second host family in like 5 or 6 weeks. So 5 or 6 weeks may sound like, oh, that's a decent amount of time to find somebody. Well, with the stuff that we have to do, it will take a little bit of time to get that family approved. So 5 or 6 weeks is really not a lot of time. So if we don't find a second host family, I don't know what we're going to do. I know that our club, Larry and Brandon, have hosted. If you want to talk to them about what hosting is like, I'm sure they would be happy to talk with you. I know our club is not, hosting students does not necessarily meet what our club looks like, and I understand that. So what I'm going to ask everybody here today is not for you to host, but for you to ask 3 people if they would be willing to host. If everybody here asks 3 people if they would be willing to host our student, I would hope that we'd be able to find somebody to host starting in the beginning of December. she's been to a few things, she's a good kid, she like would be a good addition to a family.
Which high
So-
school is she at?
She's at Unalaska. So this is the kicker, that she doesn't live in La Crosse and she has to go to Unalaska, and her third host family is in Alaska. So she's going to continue going to Unalaska. But again, if everybody in here asked 3 people, hopefully we'd be able to find somebody. So I'm asking all of you to not host her, but to think of 3 people that maybe live in Unalaska or live near Unalaska, who would be able to get her to Unalaska so that we can continue, and have a uneventful exchange here for her. Yes.
Through Phil, can you send out something just like,
So-
like age and stuff like that, just so
Yeah,
I get some people I can talk to.
we're not allowed to share, there's only specific things we're allowed to share, but I will, if Phil can send out, I will share the stuff that we are allowed to
That'd be
share.
great, just so we have something to send out.
And she's going to be here in a little bit, so if you wanted to like talk with her and maybe like get a little, I don't know, get to know her a little, that maybe if that would help, please do that. But
She is very quiet, but she is a lot of fun to talk to once you get her going. And she'll open up and share a lot with you, and you can have a lot of stuff to share with families about her.
and it's not like hosting is an awesome experience. I don't think that anyone would say that like you lose anything from doing it. It really is an awesome experience. But I am like starting to get kind of in panic mode because we don't know what we're going to do. We've never been in this position where we don't have our second host family this close to when she's supposed to move. So please think of anybody who you think would be interested in hosting, and please ask them. If you want, I'm happy, I will talk with anybody who's interested in hosting and share more specifics. But we're looking for somebody basically from December to March.
Can
That's
you
what we're
include
looking.
that in the information?
Yes. Anything else that would be helpful?
Well, let me ask you, have you shared your concerns with any of the other Rotary clubs, especially those in Alaska?
I was at all of them and they have talked to their
We
members.
talked to them,
Mhm.
okay?
Any other ideas for what we can do to find a second host family?
I will send out a post to our neighborhood group, we got a ton of homes in our neighborhood and people who would be generally willing to do something like this, so I'll try to send that out as soon as I have it. Oh,
Okay, thank you. I will get that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job. Paul Harris Awards.
Are you waiting, Sarah? Oh, hold on.
All right, so many of you probably know what Paul Harris Fellow Award is, but if you don't know, we're gonna talk about it a lot. Sarah's gonna elaborate on it in a little bit. But essentially, it's one of the highest honors you can get in Rotary, and it's a tribute to giving to the Rotary Foundation. I am a Paul Harris Fellow, and becoming a Paul Harris Fellow, you get recognition points. And you can choose to use those recognition points to honor members in the club, to honor non-Rotarians, and or anybody who you want. And I was reflecting on a certain individual, and I'll probably start choking up because I just really value her. But I really truly believe that Sierra deserves this Paul Harris Fellow recognition. I had to take notes on everything she's done for our club and for the name of Rotary over the past year. So bear with me a second. Sierra joined the club about 2 years ago.
Yes.
And immediately joined the board as a board of director. She is our current foundation chair and is just kicking butt on everything she does with that. She chaired our alpaca pancake breakfast, our first annual, and basically ran with it and made it a huge success. She hosted friendship exchange friendship exchange friends from Poland, and even had her parents take them out on the river to show them what water skiing was all about. She organized our girls' nights, pizza at her parents' or at Noventi. She incorporated the Foundation Minute into our meeting programs, and she's currently leading our global grant project among all the area clubs, bringing clean water to our friends we may never know in Nicaragua. This is just many things that she has done, and I truly believe that she exemplifies service above self. So Sierra, I'd like to present you with the Paul Harris Fellow. So she gets, this nice little, I don't know what you call that, and, you'll also get a Paul Harris Fellow. Can I get a picture? Yes. Congratulations.
Well, I'm gonna interrupt. My daughter's first Paul Harris Award came to her when she was probably 14 or 15 years old. And it was because I was a member of Rotary and I had accumulated those recognition points. And I decided to make my wife, my daughter, and my son honorary Paul Harris's. And her mother accuses me of being an undue influence upon our daughter. I'm very pleased to say that Marissa's made her own path into Rotary and Rotary service. So thank you, Marissa, for recognizing a very worthy person as an honorary Paul Harris.
Any announcements?
Number one, dues went out, I believe, last week for Q2, so please pay those if you haven't already. As well as the avenues of service. Invoices. They came a little bit later than expected, so you might have forgotten about that, but you should have gotten an email letting you know if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Secondly, Ugly Sweater 5K is coming up quickly. You will see on the tables, there's little cards. I have tons more, so if you want to take some to hand out to friends, family, coworker, leave them at coffee shops, that type of thing. Please see me after the meeting. I'm also going to send out an email, probably not tonight, but in the next day, with different ways you can help and support the Ugly Sweater 5K. It is a big event. We put lights along about 3 miles of marsh trails, so it takes a lot of manpower to do that that weekend. And so we will need kind of all hands on deck, recruit your friends and family. It is fun, it's hard work, but it's a fun time. There are 2 different signups, which might get confusing. We have one that is specifically for club members, and then one for the public. So if you can try and sign up, I will make that very clear in my email on the club one. That would be appreciated, just to make sure we have some like lead people in key areas. And then as part of volunteering, if you are a club member, you will get an Ugly Sweater t-shirt. This is a past one, but they always turn out really cool. So any questions? It's our big fundraiser, so it's a good time. All right, I think that's it. Thank you.
Hey, Neil, how are you? Awesome. All right, so we have a couple certificates of membership for a couple people that couldn't attend at last meeting, and then we'll roll into a vocational too. So one of our new members is Megan Hafner. Welcome to the club, Megan. You have been steady volunteer for quite some time, so.
Got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then our next is Nicole Tressoni.
And it's good that Nicole has been called up for her inning, because she was unfortunately had to miss last meeting for her vocational. So she gets the joy of telling us about herself. This is one of my favorite parts of all our meetings. No pressure.
Well, hi, I'm Nicole Tressoni. I missed the last meeting due to COVID. A little bit about myself. So my background in education, I was born in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and grew up in Genoa, Wisconsin, which is about 30 minutes south of here between Stoddard and DeSoto. I grew up in the Aquinas Catholic school system, K through 12, and graduated in 2018 from Aquinas. And then went on to UWL, where I graduated in December of 2022 with a international business degree and sustainable business minor. And now I took a year off and I'm going back to pursue my MBA through UW Whitewater's online program. So it's a little bit about my education. My interests and hobbies, I would say my number one interest and hobby is being outdoors and being active. So I love the spring and summer months. You'll find me paddleboarding, kayaking, jet skiing. But in the winter months, I like to lift quite a bit, and I typically do that at the lacrosse court on Alaska Y. I recently joined a pickleball league, and which starts next week. But I've never played a game of pickleball in my life, so that'll be interesting. And I'll be YouTubing pickleball this past weekend, so that's good. Other than that, I'm a huge Packer fan and love to watch football, particularly the Packers, but they've had a rough season so far, so it's not as fun. But I love to go to concerts and live music. I don't really care the genre, but I would have a bias towards country music is what I'd say if I do have to prefer one. And I also love to go to movies. I actually went to Killers of the Flower Moon this past weekend at Marcus, but didn't look at the time. It's a 3.5-hour movie, just so as a warning. So don't go at 8:30. You won't get out until about 12:30. So, but it is a very interesting movie and I recommend watching it. So. A little bit about my family. My mother Jolene is on the left. She is a organizational development manager at Dairyland Power. My dad was a probation and parole officer for the state until he was retired when I was in 3rd or 4th grade due to heart complications. And a little fun fact about him is he was the recipient of a heart transplant in 2021. So that was pretty cool. And then my older sister Claire will be graduating in the spring with her graduate degree or master's degree in library science, and she'll have to find a job. So God bless her. A little bit about my career and other jobs I've held. So far in my professional career, I've only been at Dairyland Power. I've been there for about 2 years. I started out as an intern and I did a split internship in supply chain and accounting. Then I got offered a job in accounting, which I took right before graduation in December and was in accounting for about 6 to 7 months. And then I decided to enter the project management world because that's what really interested me, and took a project coordinator position and hope to become a project manager one day. Other jobs I've held, probably my favorite job was at Lawrence Lake while I worked in college. It was a seasonal job during the summer, and it's a tiki bar in Brownsville, Minnesota, if you've ever been. It's a super fun place to work and has live music. It's super crowded and lots of drinking if you're into that. But, my first job though was at David Ray's as a hostess, and that was definitely an interesting first job experience. That's what I have. So some fun facts about me. I played college softball at UWL and was actually on the team that got to the Sweet 16, which was the first time in UWL's history, which was fun and a great experience for our team members. I spent a J term studying in Ireland for 4 weeks. However, that was the first time I contracted COVID and had to stay in a hotel room for a week and then find a way to catch up to the group, which was a character building experience. Definitely a little stressful. But probably the most interesting fact about me is that I'm eligible for dual citizenship from Italy. And that's another story. So the story behind that is that my great grandfather, Giovanni Trussoni, came over from Italy to work on the railroads. In America, he had 17 children. 17 children. Yep. And he was never naturalized as a citizen before having those children. So that dual citizen passes down 3 generations. And And I'm quite literally the last person to get it, because I'm the youngest cousin of 34, because my dad's the youngest of 12 children. So, yeah, a lot of big families. So, and actually my cousin Matt pursued it and has it. So that's pretty cool. And I'm allergic to bees. That's- Yeah. So why did I join Rotary, or specifically Rotary After Hours? I was part of Interact in high school and really had a great experience in that, and that's me in IP commercial in 2017. And then it's something I wanted to pursue after college, and but I didn't know how to join or where to start. And I happened to run into Amy Schmidt's mother, one of the members, at a 4th of July party this summer, and we talked a little bit about it, and she recruited me into the club, and I talked to Amy over coffee, and after she explained what the club is, what it does, and kind of who the members are, it sounded like a great fit for myself. So I'm here. Any questions?
Where do you hold family reunions with all those cousins?
At a park shelter in Genoa, so. Alright, well, thank you.
Do you have a favorite concert that you've been to?
Honestly, this is gonna sound very specific, but the Morgan Wallen concert in 2019 at Riverfest, just because of how much the tickets are now. So that's my favorite memory.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Look forward to working with you. Don't forget your,
Oh.
I lose these all the time. And next we get to hear about tonight's topic. And I apologize for flying through everything tonight, but there was just so much stuff to do.
She knew this was gonna take forever.
She talks. And also you get to know my personality now. Everything I do is fast paced. So I thank you for.
Thank you. All right, the Rotary Foundation, who's excited? Woo! Yeah, awesome. So we've been learning about it through the foundation minute, but tonight we're gonna get a little more formal overview. This presentation was so fun to put together. I know we do a lot of cool stuff as a club. I already thought we're the best in lacrosse, but I'm like, I think we're probably the best club in the world. So excited to share why. But first, we're gonna talk about polio. So it is World Polio Day today. Why do we care? So polio is really like the first big initiative of Rotary and like one of the biggest things that the foundation has supported historically. So in 1955, the first vaccine was developed in the United States. Polio, I think, started like 46, sometime in the 40s, sometime before that. But yeah, so the vaccine was developed here in the States. And then in 79, that's when Rotary began their involvement with their first big project, setting a goal of $120 million to eradicate it, which they quickly hit, and now it is well past that. And then by 1994, polio free here in the United States. So for anyone that isn't familiar with polio, it's a highly contagious disease that mainly affects children under the age of 5, typically spread person to person, often through contaminated water. And because of Rotary, well, not just because of Rotary, but in partly because of Rotary, over 3 billion children around the world have been vaccinated since the vaccine became available. And so there's no cure for polio, unfortunately, but it is very preventable through vaccines. And so Rotary and partners, so they partner with WHO and UNICEF and all the things, even the Taliban works in collaboration with these groups to try to end polio in their countries. Together, they have vaccinated over 3 billion children, but 2 countries remain at high risk for outbreaks. So that's Afghanistan and Pakistan. Lots of reasons why this is the case. Some of those which are, you know, the populations are, I don't remember the word, but they move around a lot. Nomadic, thank you. Yeah, they're nomadic. Also with just their gender roles in society there, you know, women can't do a lot of things without men, men can't enter homes when, you know, the man isn't present, that sort of thing. So a lot of different efforts have been created over the years to try to solve that situation. So women actually in these countries, while maybe don't have large leadership roles generally, in these countries are really at the forefront of the vaccination efforts because they can go into the home and they can speak with the women and help educate them about how this is safe and get rid of some of those stigmas that come around that. They also have high transmission between the countries along the border. So that is one of the primary places that they are doing vaccination efforts. And yeah, so unfortunately, last year, not such a great year for polio. So prior to that, in 2022, there was only 3 cases worldwide, both in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Last year, not the case anymore, unfortunately. So the polio eradication efforts don't only include vaccination, but it's also a lot about prevention through other ways. So they can test water systems and find polio in the water. So they know that polio is going to show up in humans long before often it actually shows up in people. So in these events where that's happened, they have been really successful when they do catch it, because then they just go hard at that community with giving vaccinations, and it typically lowers the rates of people that get it. So about $100 million every year is put into those prevention efforts of the wastewater testing and that sort of fun stuff. And so it's really, really important that we continue to work to eradicate polio, because if we stop, if we stop today, within 10 years, polio could paralyze as many as 200,000 children per year. So that's a lot of kids. So if we stop, very, very bad. And surviving to age 5 is really, really crucial. So it's twice as likely that you'll live into adulthood if you survive till age 5. So continuing to vaccinate children specifically is so, so important. And if you're wondering, what does your shirt mean? So give polio the finger. So when there's vaccination clinics going on, especially in like these remote communities, maybe that don't have a lot of outside visitors, kids are so excited to get the vaccine that they had to find a way to not give it to them twice. So they dip their finger in purple ink. So give polio the finger. So fun. And so I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to explain this. I'll share a video on our Facebook page that's gonna explain it much better than I will. But like I said, polio spreads from person to person. And so the vaccine contains a weakened form of the polio virus, and that helps you to build immunity over your lifetime. And so vaccinated children help protect unvaccinated children. But when there's a large number of kids that are not vaccinated, the immunity levels are low, and then the virus can start to spread to the unvaccinated children. And so it goes through small genetic changes, and on rare occasions that do happen, this weakened virus can convert into the form of polio that causes paralysis, which is the worst kind, obviously. And so this is called the vaccine-derived polio virus, and it can paralyze people, cause outbreaks, but if immunity is high, when lots of people are vaccinated, that can't happen, which is why it's critical that all children continue to be vaccinated. So Rotary, pretty awesome at fundraising for polio. So they've contributed over $2.5 billion since the beginning in 1979 when they started their efforts to eradicate it. And they've also played a big role in advocating to governments to put money and continue to put money towards this. And so they say that their advocacy has led to over $10 billion of government money being put towards that around the world. So this is a global effort. So polio has been reduced by 99.9%, which is pretty exciting. But like I said, if it exists anywhere, it threatens children everywhere. And 20 million children today are walking that would otherwise be paralyzed if major polio eradication efforts have not happened. So the cost of a vaccine is very, very low, only $3 per vaccine. And so our club, we are rock stars at fundraising for polio. So last year we fundraised $1,600 through our Pints for Polio and, just general giving that we do towards polio, which is super awesome. But this year we even filled it more. So we're at $4,300 because we raised $3,000 at the alpaca pancake breakfast. And then $1,300 from Pints for Polio. Plus, our club had a really, really big effort in the Pints for Polio passports that happened at the district tri-con that happened in La Crosse, which raised $6,000. So when you calculate that all out, let me switch pages. That is that's 3,400 vaccines provided by the efforts of our club this year alone. So yay.
Thank you, Rotary After Hours. Woo-hoo. So it's been a really good year for polio fundraising. That doesn't mean you can't, go online, don't anymore. If you feel so called to. So any questions about polio? Yeah, yeah.
Whenever I talk to people in the community and I'm like, oh, this goes to a good cause, eradicate polio, some people don't believe me. They say like, oh, how much of your dollars actually go to that? Do you know, like, how much is administrative versus how much is actually their fee? I love it.
Yeah.
Kind of strategy.
So I wouldn't say that it's 100% to vaccines specifically, but I would say, okay, so I think maybe does anyone know the percent for Rotary International? I want to say it's like 93% goes towards, maybe someone can look it up on Charity Navigator, take time. But they have really great ratings on Charity Navigator. And so all of those funds that do go to the Polio Plus Fund are either going to vaccines or going to those preventative measures that cost $100 million a year to make happen worldwide, testing wastewater systems. Did you have a question?
Charity Navigator gives Rotary International's foundation a 4-star rating, the highest rating that you can get out of 16,000 nonprofits that are evaluated by Charity Navigator. We rank in the top 20, the top 20 out of 16,000. So rest assured, when you give money to Rotary International Foundation, it counts. Huh?
Can we share that?
Yes.
Sure.
I will remind me if I forget. Thank you, Dean. That's great information. Yeah, yeah. So really, really high ratings. So there you go.
So last I heard about polio was that there were some people in New York City and different
Yes.
pockets.
Yes, I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, so last year, there was people diagnosed on multiple continents, with polio, which is obviously really awful. It was also found in wastewater in other places where there weren't even people diagnosed. So this year that continues to happen. I wasn't able to find a sig number of like how many people actually this year were diagnosed. I'll be sure to share that after the first of the year and they have a final number. But yeah, not great. But not because we're not doing a great job of trying to eradicate it. It's because people are not getting vaccinated for the reasons I mentioned, or they're, just like anti-vaccines in general.
So I didn't know if those people who traveled to Afghanistan and Pakistan.
No, not all of it. No, because so much of it is through contaminated water. So it's kind of hard to know where that initially originated.
Did you mention the matching from Bill and Melinda Gates?
Thank you so much. So that is how we got to the number of the 3,400 kids that get vaccinated. So the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation matches every dollar donated through Rotary towards polio with $2. So every dollar you give is $3, which is a vaccine. So it's like $1 is a vaccine when you give it. Thank you. And that's how we got to 3,400. That was a crucial point. Thank you. Awesome. Well, our club also participates in the Rotary Foundation in another way. So for anyone that's new, every year we do a Shark Tank. So it's just like the TV show where you go and you pitch your little thing and then people vote and then you get money or not. And so when we do Shark Tank, we're pitching projects. We're pitching how can we use the money that we so work hard to fundraise for our club. And so we've had some really awesome projects. And then in the past years, we've donated 5,000 of our club's funds and matched that of 5,000 at the district level. They match it 1-to-1. And so you can see up on the little map, that is our district. And so that's foundation funds that are going towards that. And I think that's Amy in the shark suit. So that's pretty fun, something to look forward to. And so we've had some really, really cool projects happen in the last couple of years. So the Extend Forest Trails, we've done a lot of work on those, put money into that. As well as the Good Fight Band. So the Good Fight is a community center for at-risk youth. They do boxing, there's tutoring. I believe they have music and art programs now. So really, really cool programs there. But one of their biggest barriers for students in attending was transportation. And so that band has helped fill that gap. And then last year we had the Sleep in Heavenly Peace. So we built 80 beds, thank you. So cool to provide kids in our community that were sleeping on the floor, sleeping on the couch with a pillow and a bed, mattress, all those things that they absolutely need. And then Phil's gonna share a quick little update about our project that won this year.
Yes, so we actually talked a little today with the school district. And for people who are brand new, this past year Shark Tank, I guess you could say. Neil, Bradley and I have a cool team working well together to put this into fruition. It's taken a while, but within 2 or 3 weeks from today, the greenhouse should be here. And then once the foundation is completed, then we will put up some work dates for all of us to get out there and do it. Right now, there's been a new person put in place who's in charge of facilities and, what do you call it, red tape? So, and the cool thing is, it's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, 2.5 or 3 times larger than we originally planned on.
Wow.
But yes, raised money. They did a flower sale and they raised almost $8,000 in their own. Just from the children planting, growing and distributing the flowers. And they had donations from friends and family as well. So the whole together, it's gonna be close to $30,000 greenhouse. And it's a living classroom. So it's really cool for those kids to experience that. So keep your eyes peeled for when the workday will come. And hopefully it won't be too cold by that time. But if it's too cold to build it, then obviously we get put off to the spring, but we have some time to wait. But we don't want to wait too long. So thank you. So thank you to all of you for voting for it and look forward to seeing the kids' smiling faces.
Cool, thank you so much for the update. So if you're thinking, I want to do a Shark Tank project and pick what our club is going to use money for, absolutely, please do talk to me. I would love to tell you all about it. Some of the main requirements for it is that it's within that budget. So that's $10,000. If we're giving 5, it's being matched at 5. Our club has to have involvement. So like Phil mentioned, our club will be there doing work days. There has to be recognition of Rotary. So where can you put up a little sign that says Rotary donates that, all that fun stuff. So also can't go towards like administrative expenses. It has to be for like a project. Happy to share all that info with anyone that is interested in.
And we will talk about it in January.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in January. I will be talking about it in January. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. So then there's also global grants. So this is super exciting. Our club was really instrumental in helping put together the Rotary Mobile Clinic. There's Dean up there next to it. And our club got to tour that a couple months ago when we were with the St. Clair Health Mission.
Yes.
If that was the right meaning. Yeah. So super, super cool thing for our community. Can't miss it when it's driving around and it just screams Rotary. So super cool. Very, very cool. So when we're applying for a global grant, there's a match at the district level 1-to-1, and then at the international level, they match it at 80%. So all of our money goes a really, really long way, which is amazing. And we have a new project coming up. So hopefully you guys have seen, I've been emailing you, posting on the Facebook page, talking about it at every meeting because it's so fun and exciting. We're working on this project that we're calling Create Hope in the World Nicaragua Rain Harvesting Project. And it is a fully region Rotary collaboration. So this isn't just our club that's participating in it. We do have the most members on the committee and we are contributing the most money. Which I was really excited to tell the downtown club at their program on Thursday. They were all kind of like, oh. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're the best club in lacrosse for sure. So we have committed $10,000 to this project. Our budget is 30,000 ish, and then it's 80,000 ish total for our budget. It might go up a little bit. It sounds like there's been some rises costs there, so it's really exciting. But basically what this project is this community in Nicaragua, it is a really remote area where they're up in the mountains, and the cost of drilling a well is just not something that's possible, maintaining it. And so mainly women and children are spending hours and hours a day. In the presentation that we got to hear from Peter, who we've been working with, that works, he's the executive director for the nonprofit we're working with in this community. He shared that I think it was like 80% of them are spending more than 5 hours a week. Is that right? A day collecting water. And these women, they're carrying these like 5-gallon buckets, which is 40 pounds, and they carry one on their hip and then one on their shoulder. which to me is just unfathomable. I just can't even imagine. So I will share a video about that where they're doing some interviews with families, and it's unbelievable how impactful and life changing these systems are. So they have dry season and wet season. So during the wet season, they are trying to collect as much water as they can to get them through the dry season, so they're not spending so much time collecting water. And to be honest, these systems that they're putting in don't actually even get them through the whole season, but these communities are very familiar with rationing their water. And these systems make a huge difference for them. Each system costs about $725, and then every 1 to 2 years, they have to replace the filter on it, which is only about $10 to $20. And the organization that we're working with, RAH Soul, is very familiar with helping families prepare for that, filling in where needed when, you know, maybe if they're not able to afford it at that time. We also, or the organization also requires that each family who is recipient of one of these systems is partaking in getting it. So they are contributing about 10 to 15% of the system's cost, which they usually pay over about 2 years. So it's really, really minimal amount per month. And they're also required to work towards Rotary's focus of saving the environment by planting, I believe it's 25 trees, either on their property or the property of like a public, like a school or something like that.
Remember the bread story? The bakery?
You can share it.
I will share it. One of the families that Solar, or whatever it's called.
RAH Soul.
Soul.
Yeah.
The family, yes, my brain, the family learned how to cook bread for the first time. And now they sustain their entire family in it, and they're able to even build a new home, a modern home for the first time in the village, actually. And they run their own bakery now, where they cook breads and different types of pastries or whatever, or cakes and stuff. And that's how the children are learning. And now this is becoming a learned generational thing that's helping this community grow, all because they were able to use clean water from the.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, RAH Soul provides not only the water is one thing that they do, they also do a lot of education, vocational training, some small business owners like to help them start the bakery. Lots and lots of cool things. Does anyone have questions about it? About the global grant? Well, it's gonna be awesome, more to come. So Peter, the executive director, was here this last week. He spoke to the Downtown Rotary Club, and I do have a recording of his presentation that I will share. I would highly recommend listening to it. He's an awesome speaker, and really understands this community and their needs, and yeah, it was super cool. Okay, so the Rotary Foundation, now you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. How do I give it money? So there are lots of ways. You can make a monthly gift. If you're someone that's like, I can't just, you know, dish out $100 right now, instead of $5 a month, instead of $20. That's what I do because I can't remember to do it on my own. So it just comes out of my account and I don't even know what's happening. So it's just fun, you know, and you can also pick too. So there are 7 areas of focus: promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water and sanitation and hygiene, which is what we're working for with our global grant, saving mothers and children, which you could also say we're working for, and supporting education, because then kids aren't walking for water, they're going to school. So look at us checking so many boxes, growing local economies and protecting the environment. So you can even pick one of these specifically when you're giving, if you wanted to give it to a specific area of focus. Or you could just make a one-time gift, or you could make a legacy gift. So as Marissa mentioned earlier, there's the Paul Harris Fellows. So that's when you give a cumulative of 1,000 or more to Rotary over time. If you're a part of the Paul Harris Fellows Society, that's when you're committing to giving 1,000 or more every year. And if you have multiple Paul Harris Fellows, it's because you've given multiple thousands. You can also make a bequest, which is when you are making a commitment of 10,000 or more in future gifts. So like you put it in your will, or your house, or your just cash, whatever. Or you can make a future gift. So that's over $10,000 if that is something that you're able to do. So this is why our club is the absolute best. So since our start, we have 47 people that have been members of our clubs that are Paul Harris Fellows. I would like to see what the other clubs in the area have, because that is incredible. We have 20 that have multiple Paul Harris. We have 6 people who have made bequests, so future gifts, and 2 people that have made major gifts. what? That's crazy. So really, really exciting stuff. And now you're like, I want one of those too. Here is where you can start giving today. I will share the link. I will send an email. It will be on Facebook. Does anyone have any questions? Rotary Foundation, yes.
I will say, and maybe you touched on this, but the reason that we're able to get those grants from the foundation, from the district foundation and from Rotary International is because cumulatively, on an average, our club gives $100 per member per year. So because there's generosity within the club, we are able to leverage that free money essentially through the district and the foundation, RI Foundation.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we don't just like get the money from the district and the global level. People have to be giving. Yes, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, I think it needs to be said that you did a great job on presenting some of the really important parts of what the foundation does. But in addition to that, the foundation supports the World Peace Scholars. We have what I think 11 institutions around the world that train people in how to mitigate and be involved in peace. Some of these folks end up working for the United Nations, some work in their own home countries. It's wonderful. But this club actually sponsored an ambassadorial scholar. Happens to be somebody that I know very well. I recommended that she get in touch with Rotary and apply for that scholarship. And Tierney Hall, who graduated from Wisconsin, went to Cambridge, is studying at Oxford. And by golly, she applied for that scholarship. This club sponsored her and she got it like I think $30,000 scholarship. My understanding, and I could be wrong on this, is that the Rotary Foundation provides more scholarships than any other organization in the entire world. More scholarships go out of the Rotary International Foundation. So it really has an impact. When you talk about education or mothers and children or sanitation, one thing or another. And just as an aside, I've had, by virtue of my Rotary involvement, I've been privileged to be able to travel to India and to Africa and actually administer the polio vaccine. And then you see, when you go into these villages, you see evidence of Rotary's involvement in providing perhaps clean water or sanitary facility. And I know I'm taking too much of the time, but recently a lady by the name of Cheryl Motter was killed down at Prairie du Chien in a car accident. Cheryl Motter became aware of a situation out in West Africa where girls couldn't continue their education once they started menstruating. There weren't sanitary facilities for them, and so they had to quit their education. That really pissed Cheryl off, and she couldn't stand that idea. And she engaged a guy by the name of Joe Rusky, and she and Joe Rusky went around the district and they raised $30,000 or something like that. And they got matched, and they got matched again by the Rotary International Foundation, and that got matched by USAID. And what Cheryl Motter did, this is a story about how one person can make a difference. Ended up being a $250,000 sanitation project, I think in Ghana. And now the girls can continue their education. I mean, honest to Pete, if we didn't have the Rotary International Foundation, just stop and think what Rotary would be. I mean, really, there's a three-legged stool that makes up our Rotary involvement. Our clubs, Rotary International itself, which is the organizational structure, and our foundation. If we didn't have the foundation, I shudder to think what we would not be. We just wouldn't really have much of a purpose for existing. So anyway, thank you for allowing me the time.
Yes. Any other questions?
So is there a way for people in this club to possibly get involved on the foundation level?
Yes. Oh my gosh, if you wanted to be on the foundation committee, that would be so fun. So we need to start planning for the Shark Tank, which is gonna be early next year. So please let me know if you're interested. If you're interested in helping with the global grant, we're at the point where we're writing the grant. So if that's something that interests you or doesn't and you just wanna help, let me know. Or if you wanna plan a fundraiser, if you wanna be involved with Pints for Polio, all opportunities. Good question. Cool, well, thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you, Sierra. And when she mentioned that we are the best club in lacrosse, The actual quote that we received from Tricon was that we are the power club in lacrosse. And and I was really honest when I said, this is one of the biggest things I look forward to every month is coming here with all of you. And we have so much fun and we have such positive vibes going on and we need to keep that going. So with that said, if you have anything that you would like to talk about, you can come see me. And even if something's bothering you, or also if you want to do something fun, come and see me and I will point you hopefully in the right direction, or you'll be able to talk to somebody. So with that said, anything else as we create hope in the world? Yes.
When people were doing, curriculum announcements, we did that, mention Jennifer, formerly known as he got married.
Yeah.
Also, big sister Caitlin got recognized as a rising star. And Seven Rivers, was it Seven Rivers? Seven Rivers Alliance Rising Star under 40. So Caitlin got that recognition.
Anybody else have something to share?
Membership committee meeting after this.
Great.
At 7.
Did anybody else get an award this week? Or just me? And this is why we are the Power Club. So many good things going on. And Ida's getting ready to cook. So looking forward to that dinner. Anything else before we do the 5-way test? So please rise as you're able. All the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And will it? And I remembered it this time. Nice work. Finished with 2.